went out with Shannon or something. D750.
I saw that. I was looking at it, and I was gonna get back to her on that, because it's a good camera. And apparently the guy's a professional, been using it. My only question is, how many photos is he taking with you? Because every once in a while you have to send them in to get
resetting the
they're not that expensive. I don't know. I'm getting the address I sent to Canon to. I don't know. I have to send to Canon to California.
I think the guy that only has the 9,000.
That's all.
So they have to go through all the
If he was looking at another one from Drill that had 167.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't want to know what's on mine. But, yeah, I sent mine in every couple of years.
Okay, I call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, can I have a roll call, please?
Shields.
Here.
Brazil. Here. Conley.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Stokes. Here.
So next, approval of the agenda. Anyone at this time wish to add or delete to this agenda? Okay, may I have a motion?
I move we accept the agenda as listed.
A second.
Roll call?
Shields.
Aye.
Brazil.
Aye.
Conley.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Stokes. Aye.
Next, public participation. Is there anyone at this time who wishes to address the board? Well, with that being said, I'm going to tell you that we are change agents and that we have our hands on hold. And we are united in purpose and mind to serve our children and the community. It's been an honor to be in these seats. I speak for all of us. I also want to say that our junior high had a tournament on Friday, and they won the tournament. And so I think this is the first time in 3 years.
Yep.
And so obviously this pumped them up. I can see because our grandson's in 8th grade, and he has not quit practicing since the game on Saturday. They weren't so fortunate with Little Park, but we've never really been too fortunate with Little Park. But anyway, all day Sunday and most of today, he has been out in front of the garage practicing his shots, which I, again, thrilled because it gave me time that I didn't see was going to happen. Yes, and he has a puppy, and so the puppy has been out there practicing with him, and right now that dog is dog tired, so to speak. Anyway, so with that being said, the next thing up is reports.
I can start us off with that. Do we have, I would like to note, I had a grammatical error in number 4 in my packet, my plan for community engagement. I had a dash instead of a period in that. I do apologize for that mistake. But are there any questions about my forward report?
Well, the other mistake is that you put Ted down as Tim.
Oh, yeah, really? Well,
So just to preserve Ted's name.
fair enough.
Okay.
I will make that change.
Okay. So obviously, we thank you for the road show. You have been out and about. Everybody knows who you are. I would also say that, I put down here that we need some press. And I think that was under the school culture. And I just, I see what I did. I didn't do the highlight in the correct place. But Pioneers in Public Service. That evolved in 2001 under the ethics to teach the kids leadership, civic engagement, and philanthropy. And that started with El Pomar, and I believe that we are the only program that was started by El Pomar that continued in any fashion in the state of Colorado. And so it'll be almost 25 years that this program has been in existence through the school district. And so at some point, I do believe we need a release and not necessarily the courier. I would think that maybe we'll reach out to, I think it's the Sun, is it?
Yeah.
And see if they would, do kind of a big splash. It would take us a little while to bring forward all the data, how many nonprofits in this area have been helped through that program, as well as the amount of money that over the years that has been distributed. But I also would see that the advantage would be that perhaps more cities and more schools would form partnerships to, again, improve the quality of life through philanthropy and teach students this leadership as well as the civic engagement in regards to that governmental piece. So I think it really, we need to push down the road with some big expose. Okay, and I think that I took up that. Are there any other board members?
No,
Are we just doing Dan?
No, we'll go to,
one thing I
Mr. Connor's next.
Well, and it's everybody, it's not just principals and superintendents. What is the deal with 8th grade attendance? Do they just like have to go to school? Is it attitude? It seems like there's like a trend.
I'm not sure.
But it also went down dramatically with the 11th graders too. But I'm glad you brought that up because I think that, again, attendance, they say it's the fire alarm syndrome. You have a fire alarm, which we certainly did with the pandemic, and everybody leaves the building and they don't come back. And that just changed attendance all across America. And in my mind, I think that we need to incentivize it across the culture of the community so that the community takes and spreads that standard. Because again, employers, they don't want people that are absent. I think we just need to figure out a kind of a community way of approaching this, and even maybe some of the business, et cetera, would incentivize this. They need to be in the seats. I mean, academic performance is tied directly to attendance.
I would like the board to know that one of our 2 goals as a school district is around attendance this year. On the cultural side of things, our goal as a school district is to shift from a 10% chronic absenteeism down to 7% by the end of the year. And we are on track as a district, although there are specific grade levels that are a little bit less, and some grade levels that are significantly more. Crescent, for instance, Crescent's attendance has dramatically improved this year. So you're absolutely right. That is definitely a goal. And 10% of chronic absenteeism sounds awful. It is still below the state average of chronic absenteeism. And as an example, I may have mentioned this before. One of the schools that I have worked with out of Denver, their chronic absenteeism rate is around 74%. So we are not happy with our attendance, but we also recognize that in that fire alarm metaphor that you're talking about, we're still doing better than majority of the schools in the
God,
state
did
of
they
Colorado.
even have a graduation?
Yeah, it's,
Dan,
yes.
if I might ask, and then this is just a thought, we look at attendance based against enrollment, but again, we have quite a large shift in population up here.
We have.
So that, how much does that affect these figures when we have kids moving in and out of the district all the time?
It affects the figures quite a bit. That transiency,
Yes.
That's good, you got it.
transiency is, that transiency rate definitely affects those, as we're looking at month-to-month numbers. And you can look through those numbers and you'll see specific periods of the year where those percentages are much higher than others. Because we still keep them on the books until we hear from the next school.
See, that's,
So we're marking them absent, even if we
that's
don't know where
what,
they're
I was getting at, right there.
That's
yeah.
definitely happening.
So, we look at these numbers and a lot of times, they don't really reflect actual figures. What they're reflecting is how we have to count those figures.
That's absolutely correct. And also with post-COVID, the smaller class sizes, percentages, when you're talking about 2 kids that are absent and you only have 15 kids in the class, that percentage looks a lot different.
Well, and when you're working with 300 kids, percentages, again, we're going right back to percentages don't mean a whole lot. It's numbers that we have to look at.
That's true. And we could definitely parse out the transient piece of it and be able to say, like, these are the actual kids that were missing versus this is what we're reporting to the state. And those numbers would be considered lower.
Well, I have one comment, if I can, and this is on all of I read through all of the reports that we get, and it just amazes me how much work you guys actually put in. I mean, honestly, if I had to work that hard, I wouldn't do it. I'm way lazy. I'm just saying, Head Start to the nurses, to the elementary, to the high school, to the junior high. Dan, I mean, I look at these reports and I think, you got this all accomplished in a month? It would have taken me a year to get half of that.
And it's not even a month, it's only 16 days.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is, I just have to congratulate you on the hard work you put in, and I want to thank you for that very much.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Well
Diane.
said. So, Kyla, I again to you and again some of the things you mentioned, but one of the things that I see is that third goal or the fourth one, teacher recruitment, development, and retention. And since we'll know tomorrow whether we pass 4A, which I believe we will, that again, to pull the staff and the teachers into what their suggestions are in regards to that piece. You talked about student engagement in your other report and how you had the teachers present rather than them be involved in a sit and get scenario from you. I would like that segment of staff and teachers to weigh in on this so that we can help direct some of those funds. Obviously, that's premature, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay, and I just have a curiosity question. What's a heat map? And I want to hear all about the tabletop shooter thing. So
Oh, heat map.
I found that to be fascinating.
So a heat map is simple. It's a jargonistic term around figuring out where we have presence and where we do not have presence. And so a heat map, generically could be run where you walk through every student in your enrollment and you have people identify how many adults in the room know this kid and know this family. And then this is our entire group, and we're able to tell, like, all right, there's 3 people here that only have 1 parent contact. Somebody else is going to pick them up and take them on and reach out to them as well. And so, because then you'll find there are some families that everybody knows the parent, everybody knows all the kids. They're getting all of it. But then there's a family or 2 that the school has never actually taken time to talk to. heat map is just like, let's figure out where we need to focus our resources.
And that engages them more to the district.
Yeah.
When we received the first in-school suspension grant, we had to map the amount of positive
Yep.
accolades
Yep.
to the students. So if the student had a negative involvement with, the principal's office, we had to prove that we had 4 positives for every negative
Yep.
involvement. And that was a great exercise for us to understand the culture of the positivity in the school building.
And Mary, it's something like 90% of parent contacts, and specifically in high school, 90% of parent contacts are with the assistant principal or the principal. And not just here, that's like a national trend. And the idea is like, we need to have other adults in the building making those contacts before the kids get in trouble. And you should see that percentage go down as we proactively.
I think it's great.
We ended up having the stars, and we looked for the 5 values of respect, responsibility, trust, caring, and family. Some of you remember that. And then a teacher or staff would notice that this student was engaged in something positive and would write maybe one sentence under respect or wherever it fell. And then we started putting those stars on the walls. And those stars pretty much started to take and cover the walls. And then we, at the end of that effort, we took them all off the walls, and we had this huge drawing. And it even involved us giving away a car. Yes. So there was really high things, but the enthusiasm of participating in that effort was just this huge celebratory engagement. Anyway, just an idea.
So about the tabletop thing with the PPE.
So, as I said, I'm going to go back to the heat map. One of the things that Crescent does daily is that we get 3 positive. We work for 3 positives for every kid every morning before the first bell.
Oh,
So the eye contact, calling their names, a smile, some kind of something. So that's one of the things that Crescent does every morning. That's one of the reasons I'm out there every morning is to work on those 3 positives for every kid every day.
oh, that's
So the tabletop it was very nice because it's been a while since we've really done this, and there's been some turnover in various departments. And we met over in the EMT building. We had the EMT, we had dispatch, we had CCPD, the Florida County Sheriff, we had State Patrol, we had fire.
And then us.
Yeah, and then us. And, we just went through some various scenarios, starting with the call comes in, what does that look like? What does that sound like? Who it is, who reaches out? At what point does a peak alert go out? Even that kind of thing. And we found a lot of things are in place, and then a lot of things that we need to consider. One of the things we need to consider is something happens at the school, a parent's first reaction is going to be to rush to the school. How to, not just us, but how do the team manage that? What does that look like? What would that need to be? From down to, well, depending on what it is, it might actually be, unfortunately, a roadblock because it's a safety issue for students. Having parents come in might change the safety areas. So really looking at those and finding some areas that we could balance out a little better, figure out ways to do it, and finding things that we're pretty strong on. Going through a call, what does that look like from the point of view of it's an active shooter. Do we wait? Do we not wait? They go in. Exactly when they go in, oftentimes there's one officer on duty. That officer's still coming in. what's going on in the school, even aside from that officer, what communication is happening in administration, what communication, who sets up the command center, where do they set up the command center? For things such as if there's an incident in the high school, what does that mean for me in the elementary school? Aside from locking down, I still have camera access and can be talking with Pete and can be talking with me. I can see on the camera there's somebody in the green hallway, that kind of thing. So what ways can admin assist if they are not the ones in the building? How can they still help out? Because if I can, as the principal in the elementary, say, my building is secure. Something's happening at the high school, we're still secure. How can I assist? Well, I can assist PD understanding where things are. Where are the doors? Where are the, those kinds of things. So those are the kinds of things we talk through at the table.
That's awesome.
We also identified some areas where I think some of my experience in bigger school districts will come in handy, such as labeling the rooms on the outside windows with the color and the room number, so that, because when I'm in my classroom, I don't know which hallway I'm in. I don't even know if I know what room I'm in. But that way, the teacher in the classroom knows which room, what hallway they're in, so that we can better identify the location of the intruder. And I think we're in kind of a unique position because it is a small town, so we can get a pretty good idea of who it is and get that information to the police department immediately, rather than if it's some stranger in a school of 3,000 kids, it's a lot more difficult.
I was fascinated with that. Thanks for telling me.
Any other comments on the reports? With that, then we'll move on to our business meeting. So the first thing is our consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, roll call.
Fields.
Aye.
Brazil. Conley.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Okay, then next is the approval of the September 2025 payables and payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve the
September.
September 2025 payables and payroll.
Second?
Okay, roll call.
Fields.
Aye.
Brazil.
Aye.
Conley.
Yeah, aye.
Green.
Aye.
Schultz.
Okay. Then next is the and 1K policies. And so, I don't, did you want to go forward with that?
Yes, if there weren't
The only
questions
thing
about it.
I agree with what you said, if I track them down. Your recommendations, I agree.
Okay. And my recommendations were tied to the ones that were required versus the ones that were not required. And I think that the ones that are not required, my recommendations were not to adopt those yet because they're more micromanaging and they don't necessarily add anything to the other policies. They're not required for a reason, and I tend to say the less we stick in there, the better when it's in this form. So if you refer, okay, sent this to everybody with the requirements and my assessment of each. So if there is a movement to, is it the first reading, do we have to have a movement? Like, I'm not sure how that works.
The first reading is that you have to take and have the approval
Okay.
of the policies that are to be adopted on the first round, and then they'll come up on the next board meeting.
And
And
so,
the second reading.
as I read it, I think I would read the ones that are required for the first reading for approval, and then the others we're not approving when I move forward to the second reading.
And I would suggest that just tonight's agenda, that those be eliminated,
Yes,
okay? Because it's confusing
okay,
and would be confusing to somebody who was looking at the minutes,
understood,
like our attorney in Pagosa.
yes. And so when we say that, I think we would also have to, there would need to be maybe a second motion that we're not going to adopt another set.
Well, I think the way you need to handle it is go through with the ones that we are required
Yes,
and name them, and then we'll have a motion to do that.
okay,
And then the second motion, you need to read all of the ones that we are not going to adopt at this time, and then there'd be a motion by the board to be in agreement with that.
okay. Do we have to read the ones we're not adopting, do they have to be read a second time still?
I believe so. I don't believe you should be reading the ones
Understood.
so that it's confusing. You only should be reading the ones that we are looking to take and approve.
Understood.
Okay,
Okay, so I will give the first reading of J and 1K of policies that we are agreeing to look at a second time.
Okay.
Policies JFC-R, student withdrawal from schools dropouts, regulation. Policy JH, student absences and excuses. Policy JHB, truancy. Policy JIC, student conduct. Policy JICA, student dress code. Policy JICDA, code of conduct. Policy JICDE, bullying prevention and education. Policy JICDA, school-related student publications, school publications code. Policy JICEA-R, school-related student publication, school publications code regulation. Policy JICF, secret societies / gang activity.
okay, so may I have a motion to approve those policies for the first reading?
I'm sorry, I need to also add policy KLG, relations with state and federal agencies.
I move that we adopt the policies as stated.
Second,
I'll second that.
roll call?
Keel,
Aye.
Brazil,
Aye.
Conley,
Aye.
Green,
Aye.
Stokes,
Now, would you read the ones that we will not adopt at this time?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
The following policies we are choosing not to advance to a second reading or adopt. Policy JGA, assignment of new students to classes and grade levels. Policy JICC, student conduct in school vehicles. Policy JICDD, violent and aggressive behavior. Policy JICDE-E1, bullying report form exhibit. Policy JICDE-E-2, bullying investigation form exhibit. Policy JICEC, student distribution of non-curricular materials. Policy JICEC-R, student distribution of non-curricular materials regulation.
So may I have a motion?
I move that we do not adopt these policies as stated.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Keel,
Aye.
Brazil,
Aye.
Conley,
Aye.
Green,
Aye.
Stokes,
Okay, next we have an executive session, and for Casey and Amanda, I thought sort of this was a teachable moment, and so I will let Dan speak to the rationale to go into an executive session and how this works.
So an executive session, due to sunshine laws and open records in education, an executive session is when there is something that the school board needs to talk about that should not be documented in a public document. All of our minutes will be put on the website afterwards. And so if there's something that the school board should talk about that doesn't go into those public minutes, we would have an executive session. I think there are 4 ways, this is in your board materials, 4 ways to call an executive session. One is around legal advice. One is around certain financial decisions. One that we're doing tonight is around student matters. Because if the student is under 18, we cannot reveal private information about that student in a public document. And so the board president will call an executive session. They will cite up as much as they can without revealing private information as to why they're citing the executive session. And then they also have to cite the statute that allows us to do that. And at that point, we stop recording everything. We invite only the people relevant to that matter to stay in the room while we have that discussion. We'll have the discussion, and then we invite everybody back in, and we start the board meeting again. You cannot make any votes during an executive session. You cannot make any, you can't discuss anything outside the matter as it's dictated, and you can't conduct any business or anything other than what you state during that executive session. So once we go into it, we will talk about the student matter, and then we will close that executive session, and we will come out of it and move right forward from there. So that's kind of the general overview of it. And again, it's about protecting confidentiality.
Right. So also, our principals, I don't know that they're.
I will invite the high school principals.
Okay, but Tanya, you're free to leave at this time. You can stay, not for the executive session, but come back in, or at this time, because we're going to move to the information items on the agenda, you can feel free to stay, come back into the room after we finish this, or, you can leave at this time. So it's up to you.
Okay.
Give you a little flexibility. It's awful dark because of the change of time, so I just wanted to give you that option.
Thanks.
Okay. So at this time then, I need Donna, and we have our lawyer craft the language to go into an executive session because it's been problematic in our past. So anyway, go forward with the motion.
I move that the Board of Education convene into executive session to discuss student matters, recent expulsion of a high school student pursuant to CRS 24-6-402-4H.
Okay, we have it.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Fields,
Aye.
Brazil,
Aye.
Green,
Aye.
Conley,
Aye.
Stokes,
Okay.
Second.
To read the whole thing.
It's not here.
Or the one that we went into executive session, you're going to repeat it with
Oh.
that language. Okay. The language that we went into executive session.
I move that the Board of Education convene into executive session. No.
No, that,
From, I think,
From
from,
Yeah.
executive
yeah.
session.
to support the
Yes.
decision made in the executive
Right.
session.
yeah, and name, state statute.
Okay, I move that the Board of Education reconvene back into open session, following the discussion of the recent expulsion of a high school student pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402-4H.
And,
Second.
and that the board supports the decision of the administration.
And the board supports the decision of the administration.
And again, I second.
Roll call.
Fields,
Aye.
Brazil,
Aye.
Conley,
Aye.
Green,
Aye.
Stokes,
Okay, then moving forward, we're going to go into our informational items. So, Dan, take it over.
Our 1% sales tax check for September saw a market increase, which seems to match other reports that we've seen in the other meetings, with 85,716,
So
which is nice.
is that the August money or the September?
That is September.
September's money.
Yes.
Well, it would have been
How come
actually,
I brought that?
it's reported in September, but it's actually August money.
No, I think it's the other way around. This is
Oh.
September that was reported to us in October.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is September's income.
This is September's income.
and it went high for us.
I
It
did
went
go
high
high.
on
Yeah.
places in this.
We'll take it.
I would love to see a comparison of the
Sure.
last year and this year. It's not when you guys are all
I
there
understand.
doing audit stuff,
Yep.
but just to kind of get a read on
Yep.
what
we can see the trend line on that. So just use that same format. And it helps the board to see where the high points are and where the low points are.
Yeah, because that seems very important to do that.
Yeah, it was,
Because there's nothing to look at.
and again,
Well, and Fall Fest and the colors.
Okay,
That will be first of all.
go to your second thing then, library.
Library update.
The committee hiring a librarian, which consists of school board member, community members from the school district, as well as representatives from the library board, interviewed 2 candidates. We had 3 candidates scheduled, 1 withdrew. We interviewed 2 candidates last week. We have since had conversations around that, and we will be, I'm working with Mike, the librarian, to check references tomorrow and Wednesday, and we will go from there. But we have 2 candidates, both of them could possibly be the librarian, and the committee has selected one to move forward with in terms of checking references. I don't want to give that name yet until we follow through with references and are able to make an offer.
Okay.
But we feel like we've actually made some progress on that.
And thanks for the update.
But
And again, if we do get a new one, that again, if we could, again, get a report in monthly packets from the librarian.
Yep.
And I would like to speak to you about that.
Yeah.
Kind of the twist is a little bit different for a project or something we're under contractual with.
more similar to what we do with the adult medicine.
Yeah, and maybe a change in that a little bit.
And Mary, I did hear that request earlier. I didn't want to put that on Mike.
Yeah.
On his way out.
Yeah, and no, I wouldn't do it either. But I'm going to tell you now that we've issued a contract with the library, and the first new contract in 30 years, that it definitely needs to be more informative to the board because we have more money involved in it.
Got it.
Okay. Next. Recommendation for business manager.
I have questions.
Okay.
Now. So, did I understand this, that what that salary is going to be is almost double of what Kathy is making?
Yes, but again, Kathy's not a business manager. Like her background is HR and bookkeeping. She does not. I mean, she has done.
But this is going to take the load off Kathy.
Yes, and the load off of the entire K-12 piece,
Okay.
and Elaine, who we are also paying to manage all
Okay.
of this.
I want to make sure.
We're taking what is now split between a full-time business manager, which is K-12, a part-time business manager, which is Elaine, to make sure that K-12 is doing what they're doing, and the work that Kathy is doing to support Elaine and K-12 that will allow Kathy to return to having a life and not working over weekends. There will be a short bubble because we're not going to make the same mistake made previously where we bring in a business manager with no support and no training and no understanding of the district. So we are going to, and we're stuck with K-12's contract. Through the end of their contract, we can't get out of that. So there will be a bubble as we transition a new business manager in to work with K-12 and take it over, as well as be trained by Elaine Hayden, who was our last competent business manager in this district over
Then
5
my
years.
next question is, this district got in trouble by paying into someone's personal LLC years ago. And we ended up having to pay para. Taxpayers ended up paying para on top of that. So are we sure this is okay?
I can double check on that. I think the distinction is, if I wasn't here for the previous one, I think that individual was a licensed individual who pays into para, where I don't believe that unlicensed
I would
employees
sure feel
have
better
access to that.
knowing that.
I can find that out.
And that was brokered by a employment agency.
Uh-huh.
And this is not being brokered by that.
But I will certainly take that to our lawyer and ask for it. Yeah, no, that's good. I don't have that background.
Just really want to make sure, especially since this individual is in the room when that happens.
I can definitely make sure that happens.
Benefit, because she needs a break.
And just to please myself as much as for the board, we've been looking to fill this position for longer than I have been here. And we have interviewed, 8 or 9 individuals over the past couple of years without any success. And I do recognize it is a burden for a couple of months where we're going to pay more than we should, but we need to do a smooth transition. We don't need to blindside anybody. And this needs to be a long-term fix, not a somebody who's going to, a year from now, I don't want to be hiring another business manager. Because it's hard.
If you look at the upswing in terms of having to, endure a little more money out of the pocket, that actually is very proactive. Because if you draw back on what it cost us to come through the other vehicles,
Yes.
the price tag was more on the mistake end
Yes.
than it was in terms of duplication of,
Yes.
of training efforts. You know, I don't see, and I'm still hopeful that, K through 12, that, the thumb has been on them,
It is fair.
that they may choose to go early
Yes.
in regards to this. And Colorado's not their home
I
ground.
agree.
And so I think they're just basically enduring patience at this point.
I agree. And I want to say 2 things for full clarity for the board as well. We're not making this hire out of desperation. We have had plenty of opportunities to make a desperation hire. We are hiring somebody that we think can do the job, and we are going to give them the support they need to transition into it well. And we're not solely hiring this to keep Kathy in her position as well, but that is an incredible ancillary benefit, is that this will finally bring that back to normal, back to where it needs to be.
So in the 50 years that I've been connected to the district, that this model of a business manager has served us well in those decades.
It should.
And I, again, would say that our experiential learning in the last 6 years has taught us that we were in the right practice. It just didn't happen.
Fair enough.
I just want the auditors to be happy.
Yes. And they are
The incoming money and the outgoing money.
Okay, next then is
Calendar.
okay, I'm getting there. I thought it was certification
certification.
of validation or valuation from Teller County assessors. We need new batteries. So I think that that's just perfunctory, but we have to put that on the agenda.
As a vote.
Yes.
Does that need to go in the business?
It needs to take and be on next month's agenda, because that is something that we vote for every year.
That's my
And-
mistake.
When you take it and amend this thing, and God bless you for doing this thing, the calendar, putting this back in here, right here, that you need to take and put that in the column that it belongs. So if it happens in November, then you just need to have it there, because it's something that, like I said, is perfunctory.
Understood.
Okay.
And that calendar is the one that came from CASB. So if it's not lining up.
Yeah, and I would have to compare it with the other one, so that it has maybe some things that are pretty much endemic to our locale.
Understood.
But I have not done that.
Okay.
But I will
Get that done.
try to pay attention to that.
Thank you.
Okay,
So I will shift the evaluation piece to the business meeting for next month.
yes,
Okay. Thank you. I just didn't know that.
okay. And then the next is the board annual calendar packet edition.
And that's the piece that Mary just
Yes,
alluded to, that will be part of the board packet moving forward.
okay.
Just so we know what we have to work on at each one.
And And then the superintendent evaluation rubric, I'm glad to see that in there.
Is that the one you were
Yes.
looking for?
The big thing is that, and when I purge my file, that I will give you how it ends up as the final piece.
Okay.
So that the new board members will understand that this all is drawn down into half a page, no longer, no more than that. And then how that's done, and then what it looks like in terms of the final piece.
Okay.
Okay, just because, you know, the examples are worth 1,000 words.
Yep.
Okay. Then the next then is the ballot issue of dates, Donna.
Well, I gave Dan a thing today, and I sent it to you, but I'm assuming you were busy, about how many people had voted as of Friday at 5 o'clock. It was dreary, but it's countywide dreary. So I thought it was really interesting at trunk or treating, I did too, how many people haven't voted yet.
Yes.
And we're like deer in the headlight, look, going, huh, what? So I'm very optimistic. You know, we've only had the one negative sign rampage. But otherwise, the feedback I've been getting has been really positive. I've had a couple of people who didn't quite understand what a mill levy was and how that worked, and so I explained that to them, that we weren't raising anything, they were already paying it, we just wanted to.
So I think what's going to draw some voter participation will be the election in the city of Cripple Creek. And that's basically centers around whether they're going to go to home rule. And so that is a hot topic amongst some of the permanent residents in Cripple Creek. So I think we'll pick up some numbers in regards to that.
So, and we have it, and Mark is gonna, he's kind of got the stickies, the thank you stickies ready to go on signs and banners.
Okay.
So as soon as he gets the word.
Yeah, all we gotta do is push the button, we're already ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing is the budget. So I collected $1,400. I am still not even yet, but Valdine was not in the office today, and so I will just contact Dan to tell you, you know, how far we gotta break even.
Understood.
Okay,
So can I add something to that?
you're gonna give us money, is that what
Well, not add money to it, no.
No?
So some of the comments I did get were not necessarily negative, but the questioning, which might be applicable in future things down the line, but it's great and all that we're dedicating this money to teacher retention and maintenance of the buildings, but how is that going to be tracked? And since it's all going into the general fund, what is that going to look like for the voters to be able to track what they say they're going to do with the money?
And Stanley, I think that is a fair question, and one thing that we are hoping to do with the sales tax, as an example, is putting together whether it's quarterly or whether it's a yearly report on how the sales tax, for example, has been used by the district with specific examples, with the budget rolled out as well, and then getting that out to the community, ideally through the water bill, and posting that on the website for full transparency, and I think that would need to happen with this as well.
And
Because that was the concern, it was just,
No,
we can all
that's
get
fair.
dumped into the general fund and get.
Yeah, it's legitimate.
I think that's fair, and that transparency piece, like we're gonna do with the sales tax to begin with, and then with the mill levy, you know, that creates, what's the word? Good relationships with the community, and full transparency, so the next time we have to ask for something, they're gonna see that we're actually doing what we said we did. So yeah, I think that's a fair question.
but the other
We'll put that out there.
The other thing with the sales tax is that, again, it's tied to impacts.
Right.
It's deliverables.
Right.
And so that's the same thing that this will be tracked to also.
Right.
Because it's investors who are looking at how the multiplier effect was leveraged against our other funds.
And
And
that
in
goes
talking
all
at
right.
that truck retreat,
Right.
is that these monies that come from that pledged or dedicated amount is going to go into these two things, But in the end, it's going to free up those monies in the general fund to extend educational
There you go.
opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, and all those guys, they understood that.
And I think the deliverable piece, Mary, is that we said, not me as superintendent, me as private citizen, we said 4A for kids. We didn't say 4A for HVAC.
Yeah.
Even though we're going to be spending that money on HVAC, we'll show these are the expenditures, but what does that equate in terms of what we spent on programming for kids? What does that equate in number of kids? How have our graduation rates changed now that we have a full faculty and staff? I think all of that's deliverables. It's the front side of, yeah, we bought HVAC with it, but it's the other side, like, no, this is how it's helping kids, and this is the numbers of kids you can have. Both of those have to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I think we've got this covered.
Yeah.
Well, we know where we're going with it. It's not done.
Well, it will be,
We'll get there.
yeah.
I don't want $3 million to defer.
Anyway, next then is the audit, 2025 audit progress.
So we are in the final stages of the audit. We are working with K-12. We have the auditors attending a weekly meeting with K-12 as well, so that K-12 can't tell us one thing and the auditors tell us something else. We, at the end of our first meeting on Wednesday, K-12 had not delivered everything they needed to. They said they needed it by Friday. They didn't quite get it done on Friday. I heard from the owner of K-12 today that said he was in contact with the auditors to give them everything they needed by today. It's a process of there are small pieces that once this gets done, and this gets done, and this gets done. So K-12 is still not performing the way we need them to, but the auditors have told us we are still on track and we will be okay. But like you said, it's the thumb on K-12.
Yeah,
The constant pressure.
they're suffering.
They are not happy with what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's their fault. So
Yeah, it's accountability.
they're being held accountable for it.
Yeah, it's good.
And so and again, the only person I'm trusting in this, besides our team, is the auditor who
Yeah.
is responsible for getting that submitted on time. Jesse.
Oh, Jesse, yeah.
And Jesse has just said, yes, we're in good shape.
Yeah,
As long as we keep pushing these people to do what we pay them to do.
yes.
So,
So next is the BOCES update.
Okay, been an interesting week. We did have our meeting here because Woodland Park had some kind of special meeting going on. So Katie came up, so we traded it off. We had it set up so we do every other meeting up here in Woodland Park, and so we've done 2 up here, so you're off the hook. So we'll be meeting in Woodland Park again. The issue being that one of the Woodland Park board members has moved and did not resign her position. And so I brought that up with our board president privately to work on that, but that will all go away come Tuesday. They will have a new board. So we'll have new members coming in. Nothing else going on that is significant.
I think it's significant, all the positive
Yes.
feedback that we've gotten from parents.
Yes.
And I think it's significant, the positive relationships that Katie has built between us and Woodland Park. I think that's very
We
positive.
did that Parents Academy again at the Heritage Center, and this time we had 4 people show up, and Katie saw the need of changing the format of that to more of a round table. So she wants to do one every quarter, and so we'll switch that up to a round table situation. And I still think it's really important that a board member or 2 attend so they can hear where these parents are coming from and what, because sometimes what you say and what they hear are not the same conversation. And so I think it's really important that we help Katie and support her with that. But it went really, really well.
That comment, I have some of those same things at the kitchen table.
Well,
If I may add, I also would like to staff.
Yep.
She's working very hard to build those positive relations and is being very supportive and understanding that for everyone there's a learning curve, her included, and that, you know, we just need to support each other.
And I would add one more compliment to Katie, who is not here. Katie is our OCS.
She wants to come next.
She's all those. But she attended the Colorado Rural School Alliance Conference, and she also attended the School Finance Conference, completely of her own accord, just because she's trying to help her understanding of what we're doing.
I actually had a parent tell me that they feel like she actually likes kids.
I would agree.
Huge
I had no idea.
She's really well.
She also did the educator evaluation training.
She did, and all those things are things that will help her in her job, but are not required for her to do that.
She wants to attend our December meeting, so
Okay with that?
then you can.
She's great.
The next is, the November 20th. So this is our upcoming events.
Yes.
So November 20th is the board serving lunch, and that's good. That'll be fun. And then the faculty appreciation at 1:30 p.m. And we've decided to do a gift card rather than the turkey, because the turkeys, getting a hold of the turkeys
The
was
supply chain
difficult.
is not
And
there.
yeah, and then still out of what we've done in the past is the $100.
Yes, and then principals are doing thank you cards for every faculty member, personalized thank you cards as well. And the principals and ideally board members will have some nice things to say.
So I have something to attach the gift certificates and the $100 bills to. So anyway, Kathy and I've already talked about this. It's in,
Close enough, so.
it's in keeping with the things we've already done.
All right.
You know, Gary Lewis is the one that's gonna put the beads on them.
I'm happy to help with those things.
Okay, and I will get all that to you. I think I should be prepared for 110.
It's
No,
fewer
we
than
don't
that.
have as many this year. Yeah.
Okay, so if you would just
Yeah,
give
I've
me a
got
call
95.
so that
Got it.
we can kind of settle on the number, okay? And then, so that's that. December 1st is the board meeting, and that will be swearing in of the new
Yes,
board members.
and that is one that due to other conflicts, that has to be at 4 o'clock, or 4:15 on December 1st instead of the normal 5 o'clock.
Okay, 4:15, and you'll put that on the board
Yeah,
packets,
and I will make sure everybody is reminded of that 4:15.
and they will each get a packet.
And they will get packets ahead of time.
Okay, and so that will be swearing in, and that will be the
Swearing in,
reconfiguration of board.
We'll have Katie will be here from BOCES to introduce herself. Business-wise, it should be like the vote on evaluation.
And
We're not going to try and
second
do
reading of
policies.
these policies.
Second reading of the policies that we've already done, it will not be a significant meeting
Yeah,
on that day.
so then December 11th to the 13th is the CASB conference, and I think everybody's lined up for that.
Yep.
Okay,
I won't be going to it.
Yeah, I know you're not going.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go?
Honey, I won't have any part of those people. I don't know why we're spending $9,000 a year to be part of that
Well,
organization.
guys, learn and do.
That's my opinion.
Fair enough.
okay, so,
One more
Yeah.
thing I might want to mention on events. On the 11th, we have Veterans Day.
Yes, I sure.
We will be doing a Veterans Day. The Post will be here. Annie has got some other things set up. If you can attend, it would be,
I want to say it's 10 o'clock. I'll send you
yeah,
guys.
hang on, let me look. I don't have an exact, nobody's given me an exact time yet on that. But I've got it down for right at about 10:30 to
I think
11.
that's correct. And I'll make sure I'll get that the correct time for everybody. And Mark, kind of the cool thing on that Annie has done, in our continued efforts to work with Woodland Park schools, she has coordinated with their superintendent so that the veterans event in Woodland Park, we will have our veterans event, they will have time for lunch, and then there will be the Woodland Park veterans event.
just so you know, after the event here, we're having the kids from the Guffey's Charter School come up to the American Legion post. We're gonna have a pizza party for them and talk to them. Normally, we go out to Guffey after we have the Veterans Day celebration here at the school. We'll normally go out to Guffey, but this year they're coming up here. So if anybody would like to meet those folks, we will immediately after we'll be spending some time with those kids.
Great, sounds good. So on December 1st, the swearing in's at 4:30?
4:15.
4:15.
We're at 4:15.
So then, is there anything else?
Yeah.
Definitely. I wanted to give this pot of flowers to Donna. Donna is going to have a significant little surgery tomorrow, and it's a bit scary, so I thought, well, here,
Yeah, it is.
this
I
will,
can smell the roses.
yeah, it'll cheer you up.
Yeah.
But that's not the only thing.
And geraniums are my thing.
I thought you might need something else to take it home.
In a purple bag.
Well, I'm sorry it's not the Crown Royal. But I'm sure you're gonna be on antibiotics, so that's a new issue, and I don't wanna be the temptress. And so that's that piece. So number one, and she's got a Catholic background, so here's a holy card, and there's a little novena prayer on the back that you should read. And then here, I thought this would help with,
Oh,
covering up.
perfect, covering up the
God.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I should walk into the doctor's office.
Yeah, sorry. I have to tell you, these things are very, very old, so they're quite brittle. You just don't find these like this anymore. So be careful, okay? And so I think you're equipped.
I got it. I might walk in the doctor's office with that.
Yeah, and keep them in the Crown Royal. I think that's, actually, I really think this bag was my mother's. This is her favorite drink.
My brother.
And I have to take and tell you, sometimes we pour her beer, but then she get the Crown Royal out and pop the beer off. And it gets out.
You never know.
I tell you what, I never drank because I was always the one that had to be the responsible one to get her up to bed.
Oh, thank you. I might just.
Anyway, so that's that. So anybody else? Okay, then I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call.
Beals,
Aye.
Brazil,
Aye.
Conley,
Aye.
Green,
Aye.
Stokes,